Okay, hi. Today we're doing a few things. We're doing a tag, we're doing a shout out, and we're talking about, I guess, like my Booktube anniversary, so we'll just get into it. Today I'm doing the Booktube Numbers Tag, so this was created by Jim at, I love how everyone does this, Jim Books and Stuff, because that is how he introduces every one of his videos. I was tagged by Shelly at Shelly Swearingen. I will put Jim's original and Shelly's video in the link below. And I am going to start off by tagging someone. So, and this is kind of my shout out. This is gonna get rambly fast, I apologize. Some people on Booktube, have so much time to watch people, or I see them in all of the comment sections, and I'm always like, dang, how do you read and Booktube, make videos, and then watch Booktube, and then, do everything else? I do not know. So I don't watch as much Booktube, I don't think, as a lot of other people. But I always love when I find a channel that just, I vibe with. Yeah, we like the similar types of books, we have similar, maybe, energies. So I am tagging Olivia at Biblioghoul. She is a newer channel to me, and she's a newer channel generally speaking. I think she has about 65 subscribers when I just looked. If you like the types of books I read, maybe books that you hadn't heard of before, I try to find niche or less popular books. She does the same. She reads across a huge variety of genres. Every video I watch, I add a book to my TBR because they all sound so fascinating. She's doing one environmental nonfiction book a month. I think nonfiction. She reads a lot of nonfiction, she reads horror, she reads a bunch. So if you like my channel, I do really think that you would like Olivia's channel. So I'm going to link her below. I'm tagging her in this video. I would recommend you guys go watch her video and subscribe to her if you like her content, which I think you will. Now, let's actually get into the questions. Okay, question number 1. What was your first Booktube video? So I created my first Booktube video February 8th of 2021. It was a little over a year ago at this point, and it was just a welcome to my channel, Booktube goals. Don't watch it. I have gotten so much more comfortable in front of a camera in the past year, which I didn't think would happen as quickly as it did. But if you wanted to watch something similar, you could watch my 2022 reading goals video. Don't watch my first. I know I'm awkward in it. So thank you for people who actually watched that and was like, hey, subscribe. Question 2, how many books are you currently reading? I'll answer this specifically for the books I'm reading, but then I have general brackets of books that I'm normally reading. So I'm normally listening to one audiobook. Right now that's Bad Blood, Secrets and Lies in a Silicon Valley Startup by John Carreyrou. This is about the Theranos scandal where there's a very young CEO and she started it, Elizabeth Holmes, I think. I went down I saw that there was a mini-series being created on this, and then I went down a spiral, and then I remembered that there was a book about it, and the book is really fascinating. I kind of just want to blow through it all day, but I also want to get other things done. So that's the audiobook I'm listening to. And then typically I'm reading one short story collection. I typically read a short story in bed every night before I go to sleep. And I'm currently reading Milk Blood Heat by Dantil Montes. Let's look this up. Moniz, yeah. And these are I'm liking it quite a bit. They're kind of slice of life, but something happened to someone recently. Very character focused, very just day in the life, but kind of not, something else is going on. And the first one, the first short story, was really good. It's not as, I'm not loving as all of them as much as that first one, but really solid read so far. I'm about halfway through that. And then I am reading Kintu, which is just my basic I'm reading a book physically, it's actually pronounced Chintu. And this is like a multi-generational family saga kind of story, but like it's not told chronologically. I'm about like 150 pages into it, and it's like a 400 something page book. So I really loved the first section, which was taking place in the 1700s, and now I'm in the 1980s, and I'm enjoying it, but not as much. But I think that the key for this book is going to be how it all loops together. So that's another one I'm reading. And then I'm typically reading a book with my partner. So he doesn't really read that much. And so in order to get him to be a reader, I will read books out loud to him. And he likes fantasy. He loves playing video games. And so we typically read fantasy series. So right now we just started Jade City by Fonda Lee. And so we're like a few chapters into that. And then if I have a buddy read, I'll normally like have another book in the mix there. I normally have like 4 or 5 books that I'm kind of circling through all at once. And I just kind of mood read whichever one I'm like more interested in at the time. Question 3, what were your top 3 books you read last year? Okay, I hate these questions. So this is a challenge. Thank you, Jim. I don't like to order my books at all. Like, my top favorites were just like favorites across different genres and different avenues of reading. So creating a top 3 is extremely challenging for me, and like this is just like if I looked at this from like so many different avenues as I was like trying to prep this question. Like, do I look at it from like ones that I would recommend to the most number of people? Do I go on just like pure enjoyment, which I couldn't do because I couldn't pick? That's why I can't rank things, because like my enjoyment, I can't relate my enjoyments of totally different books to each other. It doesn't work for me. And so I'm just going to go back through my list from my favorites of 2021 video and just like, I guess, make up 3 on the fly. These aren't going to be in order because you cannot expect me to do that. Okay, if I'm going on gut feeling right now, I want more than 3, but do I put a reread in there? I'm taking Mistborn out by Brandon Sanderson because that's a reread for me and I'm not going to include that. Okay, I'm going to go with The Making of Asian America by Erica Lee. This is a nonfiction, and just for like the sheer number of times I've thought about the information I learned in this book, and it's been applicable to things happening in the world, and it's like really connected to like, it's ingrained itself in how I experience the world around me. So we're going to go with that one, which means I have 2 more. Oh God. Do I want to go on reread? Okay, I'm going to go with Daryl by Jackie S. because that's like just so heavily rereadable. Anyone who like really loves like thematic reading for themes, I would just recommend. Content-wise, for people who don't like more crass or more sexual things, I wouldn't recommend this to, but I would recommend this book pretty widely. Yeah. Oh man, and then I have to do one more. Do I go with it? Okay, I'm not going to go with a short story collection. Oh, God. Okay. See how stressed I am? Oh, God. Okay, do I go with, like, one of the historicals I really liked? Or, oh, God, that one was really good. Okay, I'm going to go with The Break by Katharina Vermette. It was very graphic in some of the sexual violence that it portrays, but I just really loved the interconnectedness. It was like it was circling around one theme, and there was like different generations of this family of women, like kind of all mixed in their relationships, and it was just a really good book. And there are so many more that I want to talk about, but you can only pick 3. Why? Why would you rate books in an order? There's no such thing in my head. Okay, moving on. Oh, number 4. How many books did you read last year? I read 143 books in 2021, but a lot of those were like one short story, like Amazon originals that I read. I think like 16 of them. So, but they still count as different books. I read 143 books which was 36,994 pages. Okay, number 5. How many books have you rated 5 stars this year? I don't rate things but with star ratings. I have a whole video on why, but like a star rating, for some reason I complicate that in my head. So in my own personal spreadsheet, I have like hated, disliked, neutral, liked, and loved. So I would call loved probably a 5-star read. I think I only have 1 for the year at this point. Yeah, I only have 1 for the year so far, and it's actually a romance, and it is Radiance by Draven. Now, this wasn't like the perfect read for me. I wasn't like, it's a romance, it has sex scenes. I wasn't a big fan of the sex scenes, but like the banter was really great. I really loved the friends to lovers trope where they go from like strangers to friends to lovers. I love the forced proximity that it has. They started off the book by knowing that they were getting married to each other, but having never met each other. I really loved the total disgust that they started with both of each other, because one is human and one is another like humanoid species, and they find each other physically repulsive. I loved watching the build, and actually in my February wrap-up where I talked about the Brown Sisters trilogy and how I didn't really like it, and I wouldn't recommend it as a starting point into fantasy. A lot of people asked me what book I would recommend, and Radiance by Draven would be my recommendation for a romance, just generally speaking, to anyone who wants to get into it or wants to get into fantasy romance. So yeah, that is the only book this year that I've read that I've loved, but I have plans for April that I think are going to change that. So I'm going to have like an April vlog, hopefully, because I always give up on vlogs halfway through. So we'll see. I think April is going to be a good reading month. Okay, question 6. Do you have a reading target for the year? So not really. Like, I put into Goodreads the number 75 every year for the number of books I want to read, which is, I always hit that. I read enough that that's never like a stretch goal for me. My reading target is more like reading with respect to my like goals for the year of like what my reading looks like. So finishing and reading some series, reading some classics from like around the world, or lesser known ones, reading what else? I didn't put this in my reading goals video, but like reading my 22 book nonfictions I want to read in 2022, which I'm actually fairly on track for. I think I've read 5 already. So yeah, I like don't have like a numbers goal, but just like I have like priorities for the year that I've set that I'm trying to achieve. Oh, question 7. Why do you do me like this? How many pages long is the book you are reading right now? Okay, Bad Blood is 339 pages. Jade City is 498 pages. Milk Blood Heat is 208 pages. And Chintu is 442 pages. Next question, question 8. How long are your videos? My wrap-ups are pretty long, generally speaking, because I like to get into quite a bit of detail with the books I'm talking about, like not plot-wise, but just my thoughts about it and what type of reader I think would like them. So those get pretty long. I am fairly rambly, and I don't plan my videos all that much. I don't script at all. I think that's pretty obvious if you watch my videos. It's just like very chatty, and so I just get a little rambly, and it's hard to kind of edit things out, because if you've probably noticed, I kind of get train of thoughts, and then my mom would always describe her brain working like this, and as like a teenager, I'd be like, okay, Mom, you're crazy. And she would be like, yeah, like I'm always like 3 thoughts ahead of where my mouth is, so then I interrupt myself because like I think of a different way to say it, or I'm already like through that thought process and onto a new one, and I totally do that. So yeah, it gets hard to like kind of cut myself down sometimes, because like I roundabout come to conclusions. So yeah, my video, but like then I have some short ones. I would say like 10 to 35 minutes is kind of where I land. I don't think I really go below 10. And then, do you have a favorite number? No. No, I don't. Okay, last question. Do you have a book on your shelves with a number in the title or on the cover? I have a lot. Hold on one second. So 2 of them aren't mine. They're my partner's. They're Metro 2033 and Metro 2034. They're like dystopian novels that take place in like Russian undergrounds, like where everyone lives because the surface is unlivable. I tried to read them and I really thought the translation felt really clunky, so I DNF'd it very quickly. We'll talk now about the ones that I've read. Okay, so we have The Two Towers by Jrr Tolkien. I mean, this is the second part of the Lord of the Rings. I love this edition so much. This one, I don't really have to say much about. I enjoyed the series. And then 121 Days. This was translated from the French, and it is a very experimental novel that doesn't really have a plot. Then I have Slaughterhouse-Five, which is by Kurt Vonnegut, which I haven't read for years, but I saw this old cover of it and decided to pick it up when I was at a bookstore in Philadelphia. And yeah, when I read it, I enjoyed it, but I preferred Cat's Cradle at the time, but I would be interested to reread. Kurt Vonnegut's been on my like reread agenda for a while, but I just haven't really been getting to his books. And then we have The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which was all over Booktube years ago, and I thought it was enjoyable, but I didn't necessarily love it. I had some qualms with the frame story element. And then I have a nonfiction called 97 Orchard Street, an edible history of 5 immigrant families in one New York tenement. So this is 97 Orchard Street is actually like a tenement museum in New York City. I had owned this book for years, and then I went to New York City with my father, and we went there together and got to kind of see, like, we did a tour. It was pretty cool. And then this book is kind of like different people who may have lived here from different countries, like immigrants from different countries from Europe, and just like different types of food and like how they might have changed their food habits, like when they came to America based on availability of materials, or availability of food or different types of food and ingredients, how people's like religions might have changed what they could and couldn't eat, and had some recipes in it, and yeah, I quite enjoyed it if you're looking for like food nonfiction. Okay, and then I have some books that are on my TBR that have numbers in them. So Number 9 Dream by David Mitchell. I only have 2 of his books left. This is one of them. The other is ghostwritten, but I've read everything else he's written. 5 Days of Fog by Anna Freeman. I really loved The Fair Fight by Anna Freeman so much, and would just want to get to another one of hers. A Brief History of 7 Killings by Marlon James, which I keep putting this off. I dread it because I didn't like Red Leopard, Black Leopard, Red Wolf, which I know they're a little different, but because I had such a bad experience with that, yeah, I'm just putting this off. And then we have Babel 17 by Samuel R. Delany, which is a sci-fi classic, which is on my TBR for this month. Those are all the books I have with numbers in the title, and that is going to be the end of this video. So yeah, go check out Olivia's channel. I will link her below, and that is all I have. So until next time, happy reading.